Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Will Wareham with WHHI-TV. Today we're in Beaufort. We're chatting with Bridges Preparatory School. Our first guest is Dee Matthews, who's chairperson for Bridges Prep Board of Directors. We're also joined by Dr. Nick Ithamides, who's the head of school, Caroline Lovell, and Marty Miley. So stick around for more 843 TV, where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. Today we're joined by Dee Matthews, who's chair of the Bridges Preparatory School Board of Directors, and Nick Ithamides, who's the head of school at Bridges Prep. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's good to see you again. And I understand congratulations are in order. Earlier this month, Bridges Prep earned a huge recognition as being named one of the state of South Carolina's top 3 charter schools. That's quite an honor. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that honor means and how the schools are judged?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a great honor because we're such a young school, but the state uses basically student achievement, where they are in a certain point of time, student growth, how did they do over from the previous year to the next year as far as the student growth is concerned, and then how the fiscal responsibility of the school is met and how the organizational structure of the school plays out. So, and they look at other things like student attendance, and they look at your end of the course exams if you're at the high school. So they rate each school based on those things, and I want to tell you, it was so exciting to get that news because it means that the board, administration, teachers, and kids all performed at the highest level. So that was nice.
Absolutely. It's a kind of an affirmation that you're doing things right over there, right? And Dee, we were talking a little bit off camera that the other 2 schools on that list have been charter schools for quite some time, and y'all are a relatively young school, right?
Yes, this is just our 4th year, yes. So the other 2 have been charter schools for some time now.
And how do you, in your opinion, how do you think Bridges was able to climb the ladder so fast?
I would have to tell you that I believe it's the dedication of the teachers who are truly dedicated in ensuring that our students receive the highest academic levels of teaching that they can. So teaching and learning efficacy are taking place every day in the school. I think the support of the parents to provide what is necessary and to support the students in their work with to support the students to be prepared for school, but in supporting the teachers in their role with the students as well.
Sure. Sure. And so speaking of that, starting any organization, let alone a school, comes with its set of challenges, I'm sure. How do you think you stayed focused on educating the children in order to do what you do and become so highly rated?
I think it is a joint effort, a team effort from everyone involved. And I would say from the board, which does govern the school, but I think for the board itself, it was truly all about what's in the best interest of the students, what's in the best interest of the school, ensuring that we have the best head of school possible, and we do, ensuring that our parents are kept involved and informed, and that we are not that we are very transparent in the actions that we are doing. Having the dedicated teachers, having a leader that can find the best teachers available for the students, and just supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. And communication is key, right? Being transparent with what you're doing, and not just with parents and students, but with the teachers and the community.
Yeah, I just want to throw in there, we got great kids.
Yes, we do. Oh my gosh, yes.
The teachers are there, the parents are there, and the staff is there. I mean, we've got great staff from top to bottom, but we have a really good student body that responds to good teaching, and so they wouldn't perform if we wouldn't be performing unless they were performing.
Exactly.
So we've got great kids.
Yeah, and speaking of those kids, so currently we have students from what age group or what grade level are you servicing?
Kindergarten through 9th grade right now.
Currently,
yes, enrolled in school right now. Yes.
And then we're adding some grades, right? Starting, is that next year?
Yep.
It is.
Okay, so we're hoping to maintain the same level of high academic progress as we expand into the high school grades. What's the strategy for that?
Good teachers, it really does start with the good teaching.
Yeah.
You've got to have good teachers at the high school level who are content specialists, that they have to be able to relate to kids, they have to be fair, they must make kids feel valued, and they have to have high expectations. So when we're interviewing our new teachers, those are the things we talk about. What can they bring to the table? We will maintain the highest standards. It's not negotiable.
Sure.
And it's the same combination Dee talked about. You get the parents behind you, you get the teachers who are qualified, and you make those kids feel valued so they want to perform. And so that it's not rocket science. It's such a simple formula. I mean, it's hard to put into action sometimes.
Sure.
But I'm very confident about where we're going to be with the next levels all the way through the high school years. I'm very confident.
And so I wanted to step back to one of the metrics that the state uses to measure these top charter schools. And you mentioned student achievement and from where they were last year. Is that gauged via standardized test scores?
Yeah. It's called the EVOS, and the kids will come in with a score. The teachers will look at their score, let's say reading, and they'll set a goal for that student as far as where they want that student to be at the end of the year, or close to the end of the year. We're right in the middle of all that, by the way. And
Okay.
so then if they look at how many kids met their goals, so how many kids achieved. There's two differences. There's an achievement level. This is where you should be at the end of third grade. But there's a growth level.
Sure.
So the kid who's maybe not going to be quite at third, we'd like them to be all at third grade, may have made the best great gains. So
Right.
you've got to take it's called value added. You take into consideration where the kid came from, and where they grew, and where they were at. So that's the formula.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations again. That's fantastic. Can y'all stick around for another segment?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. And please stick around for another segment of 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. Caroline Lovell joins Nikki Themidis and Dee Matthews. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
From Bridges Preparatory School. And so when Bridges Prep opens in August for the 2017-2018 school year, you'll have students in kindergarten through 10th grade.
10th grade, exactly.
What, in your view, has been some of the biggest challenges in preparing for high school students?
I think basically two. One is that we have to ensure that we have the facilities to house the students.
Sure.
And our growth has been, you mentioned earlier, but our growth has been very good, very strong. And so the facilities have to be there to house the students. And then, of course, getting the teachers to teach the high school for the course subjects that we're offering and all.
Right.
So
And the teachers are pretty essential in that.
they are very essential. And they have to be, when it's high school, it really is content.
Yes.
You know, and there's other added areas that we have to look for with AP courses, other things. So yes, it does become a struggle, but one that's Dr. Ithamides handles very well.
And you currently have a program of studies that's on your website for high school students.
Yes.
I'm assuming Dr. I, you had some input on that, but who else contributed to that effort, and what's that all about?
Well, we pulled some board members together, some who had educational experience and some who didn't. We had teachers involved with that. We had a business operations person involved because she does some scheduling, myself, and so we sat down as a group. I kind of laid out, I'd looked at some of what the other schools were doing. You know, we're driven by the Carolina graduation requirements, so it's not like you can make everything up.
Sure.
So that was the foundation. So we brought to the table some ideas about what we should offer for next year for 10th graders for sure.
Right.
And that's pretty restrictive because you have to follow a sequence. It was really the difficulty was, how about the 11th and 12th grade, because we're projecting.
Right.
You know, where are we going to be facility-wise? That's a lot to do with what we offer. Where we are student-wise, because you know, depending on your student population is what you can offer, and finances. So we pulled everybody together. We had a really good, rich, discussion. It was, and I think I'm not sure, but I think it was the first time that there was a discussion around curriculum with
Right.
a lot of people,
Yeah.
which I'm used to. It's kind of like, what, really, you know? But it was easy because everybody, they know how important that high school component is, and
Sure.
everybody wants to make sure it's successful. And we wanted to lay out a program. Now, are we ever going to be able to match the variety of courses some of the bigger high schools have with 900 or 1,200 kids? No, but we want to have a rigorous curriculum for the most challenging superstars, academic omnivores, and we want to have a regular college prep program. We're not going below college prep,
Right.
but we want to try to offer a variety of courses and opportunities for kids, dual enrollment down the road, AP classes down the road, that we can stand out and compete against anybody.
Sure.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. And Caroline, Dr. I mentioned some of the larger schools and some numbers associated with that. Bridges closed its new enrollment process in January for the 2017-2018 school year in January of 2017, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so how do your numbers look so far for that forthcoming school year?
Well, currently we have 582 students enrolled
Okay.
in our classes right now, and we are anticipating 629. Well, we were anticipating 629 for the fall.
Okay.
We actually have 678 enrolled.
Okay.
So we're about 50 over what we anticipated. So we're very excited about that, and we have about 11 slots open in K through 10, which is
Okay.
who we'll serve next year.
Great. And I guess this is just a question I have. Is there a concern about keeping high school students physically separated from, the kindergarten or the first grade students? Is that something that comes into play when you talk about facilities and things like that?
We really have them separated at
Yeah.
the present time. We have our, in the fall, 2017, 2018, the early childhood, kindergarten, first and second grade will be located in one facility. Third through 7 will be located in another, and then the 8th, 9th, and 10th will be at a different location. Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And the new building will be designed around that same model.
Sure.
Middle school, elementary, high school.
Sure.
Different areas.
Gotcha. So now I think that this is a subject that's in dire need to talk about, but teachers, I think that teachers are some of the national treasures here in the United States, and schools always seem to need good teachers. Are you still looking to hire some new teachers?
Well, we've done a lot of work on staffing. I've pretty much all filled my elementary positions that we have. I've got one more. I'm confident that will work out next week. We have hired a couple of we're doing some shifting. It's kind of a complicated thing. We're doing some shifting with staff. But I have 2 math openings, 2 science openings, the social studies and English. We filled the English. I'm ready to sign on the dotted line for the social studies teacher. I've got a fantastic science teacher and math teacher that are preparing their applications and letter of references. I've already chatted with them. If we can bring them on board, that is going to be a really strong nucleus. But right now, technically, I'm still looking for another math teacher and a science teacher, at least those 2. And the biggest challenge, I think, right now is principal for the upper school. We really need an administrator for the 8th, 9th, and 10th grades, and so we had some candidates, and we're still reviewing those. But it's the concentration for me has been on the staffing, because it doesn't make any difference if you have an administrator if you don't have the teachers.
Right,
So
right.
we're a little further along than I thought we would be, but math and science are still needs.
All right. So if you're a teacher and looking for some opportunities, or actually if you're a teacher, thank you. And if you're looking for an opportunity, Bridges Prep would be a great place for you. Caroline, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Dee,
you.
Nick, if you could stick around for one more segment.
Sure.
Please stick around for one more segment of 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. Marty Miley joins us, Nick Ethemidis and Dee Matthews, also with Bridges Preparatory School. Marty, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Marty's the vice chair and a leader of the facilities committee, and you've been a busy guy, I
Yes.
understand. You've been working on buying land and designing a new school, and you now are you've got a big piece of property in Port Royal, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's going to be the place for a full K through 12 campus for Bridges Preparatory School.
That is correct.
Can you give us an update on what's been going on with that project?
We've been meeting with architects, engineers, getting concept drawings done. We've been meeting with SCDOT, local municipalities to get somewhat of conceptual approvals. We've done some layout for conceptual site design, showing parking, future spaces such as gymnasiums, auditoriums, play fields, so on and so forth.
Absolutely. So that's a lot of work. Yes. This is no small project.
No, not by any means.
So speaking of the scope of the project, how big of a facility do you anticipate this being, number of classrooms, square footage type thing?
Well, at this present time, we have anticipated 3 classrooms for each grade. That does not include labs or technology areas, or actually common working areas for both student project-based learning and teacher working. Presently, we're around 95,000 square feet for the school. That does not include our gym, but it is really looking good. We're in the process of preparing the conceptuals, getting those to OSF, that's the Office of School Facilities, who ultimately has a big place and a big play in all of this.
Sure.
We've pretty much had go-ahead nods, but this is the final aspect of it.
Okay.
So we're excited.
That is exciting. So 95,000 square feet, and that's just the indoor facilities.
That's just the indoor facilities, yes.
And so let's talk. In the high school I went to, we had a football field and stuff like that. Is that planned for this development?
We're actually excited about that. We have athletics for all grades at this point, or for the upper grades at this point. We do not currently have a football team. May not have a football team. That's probably past my time, so to speak.
Okay.
Because it's just like other schools, we have to grow enough, and football teams require a lot of numbers. But we do have softball, volleyball, basketball, soccer, track. So almost anything else that a child would want to do, golf. So we have teams for everything with that, and we do have. With our new facilities, we have anticipated a track field, a baseball field, a softball field. So yes, we have those areas outlined to be prepared and fixed for those students as well.
That's very exciting. Marty, we're talking about the development of this facility. What are your next steps? What are the team's next steps? What are you looking forward to? What are some milestones that are forthcoming?
Well, the next step is just to keep moving forward. The way we've been going. Go to OSF with our concept approval. Creating the final design drawings after we have that conceptual approval from OSF. Once we get those final designs, then we'll send a bid package out, hopefully sooner than later. But this process does take a little while, so
sure.
We're trying to move it along as fast as we can.
And when you say bid process, that's like for a construction company?
Yeah, you put down the design drawings, you submit those packages out to general contractors who will be participating in a bid process, and once those numbers come in, hopefully on budget, we'll be able to move forward to groundbreaking, which I think that's the ultimate question for everybody.
Yeah.
Is when is that going to take place? We really don't have a timeline right now. We're still in the process of going through all the approval processes. So sometimes those take a long time.
Oh, absolutely. And you want to make sure that it's done right.
That's correct.
Because you don't want to backtrack. And you've been involved with this since the beginning, right? I mean, can you give us a little bit of a time frame? So what has passed so far, and how you decided on this parcel of land?
Well, originally we thought we would be just renovating the Boundary Street campus to house all of our school there. That did not transpire and could not transpire because the city, we couldn't meet the traffic study requirements, mandated by the city. So we had to, I think the hardest thing at that point was going back to square one and starting again. Right. So we have been very diligent. We are very fortunate to have Marty on our board as well as handling the facilities, because he really does know all those elements, and he has been key in teaching me some things, because I've been the teacher or the administrator that walked into the new building. I had no idea of all of the elements that transpired and took place before the brick and mortar go down.
Yeah,
and it's a lot, So
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one, sometimes he has to tell me, okay, not yet. I'm the one that would love that golden shovel being, you know,
Right.
to lift up that dirt tomorrow, but it won't quite be tomorrow.
No, absolutely,
Yes.
and you want to make sure that you feel good about it. And Dr. I, you've been in the world of academics for quite some time. Is this a new venture for you, or I mean?
Yeah, most of the schools I'm with, D, you know, you walk into the building, it's there, the facilities are there, and I've sat back this year trying to learn the community and the school, but I will tell you, I don't think folks have a clue how hard the board has worked on this. They have been the driving force behind this for years, and it's almost neck break speed right now because they got kind of turned down earlier in the fall when they thought they were going somewhere. And to get from where they are to now is a yeoman's work on their part. And it's amazing when you see the progress they've made. And I know folks are somewhat frustrated because they keep waiting. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And kudos to Dee and Marty and the rest of the board for achieving, getting to this far and making sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed.
Well, I'll tell you something that has helped us of late too is that Caroline was a member of our board and resigned from the board. She's taken a position with the school as the chief operations officer, and so some of the legwork and the paperwork that we used to have to do after hours and on the weekends and things, it's been great because she's been able to do them during the regular business hours, and that has expedited things quite.
It helps to have an
Yeah.
insider.
Yeah, quite well. Yes, it does.
All right. Well, that's our time for today. We look forward to having you back and talking more about this exciting project in the future. But Nick, Dee, Marty, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having
pleasure.
us. Thank you.
And thank you for watching 843 TV, where communities come to speak.